highway, things like that. We didn't see things escalate in terms of tear gas or things being lit on fire. That came hours later once the protest kind of moved from the highway over to the City of Miami Police Headquarters in downtown Miami, and that's where things eventually took a more violent turn. Initially there, though, things were peaceful as well. I mean, people were standing there with their signs, they were chanting, they were having their voices heard. The police officers were standing their ground, but there was no interaction. There was no reaction initially to what the protesters were saying because they weren't doing anything. They were peaceful. Again, we've heard different things potentially happening leading up to the escalation that we have seen. But what we've seen unfold over the last few hours has been truly remarkable. We've seen several vehicles on fire. We've seen protesters dealing with tear gas. Our Kim Wynn has been in the thick of it as well. And she is joining us live now with more from her vantage point and what is going on there near Miami Police Headquarters. Kim?
Yeah, hey there, Juwan. So we are behind the police department where police are still basically safeguarding the police department. They're in their riot gear. They have a line formed here and they haven't left from that position. So that has remained. Most of the protesters have cleared out of this area. They've probably been gone from here maybe a good 15 to 20 minutes. What caused them to disperse was the tear gas that was thrown out here. I want to show you guys, we got a little bit closer. The car that you guys saw on fire, which kind of started, where things took a turn for the worse. This is the car that was on fire, and this is what's left of it right now. Just completely just burned out here. You see it's been spray painted, a lot of graffiti here. So that is the aftermath of that first car that we saw those images of that car on fire. I would like to talk with a local resident here. You live right across the street from the police department, and you were also a part of, I want to just make a distinction, you were part of the peaceful protest. So just tell me about how things started, because, folks are tuning in right now and all they see is, the damage and things like that, but it didn't start that way. It didn't start that way.
Well, I was part of the peaceful marches, as you mentioned, probably around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. They started here at the police department, they cut through downtown, and they ended at the Torch of Friendship, which has been shown on the news. It was a really nice gathering, very peaceful. There was a lot of police presence, but both parties were very respectful of one another. The march made its way back into downtown to the police department, and things just got out of hand on a flip of a coin.
How did they get out of hand? Like, were you here when things just kind of went left?
I was in the crowd. There's a lot of people, so it's hard to say who cast the first stone, but things got out of hand quickly. Like you mentioned, the cop car behind us was totally destroyed, which prompted the police to tear gas the crowd, and that was my cue to go. Again, I mean, it's hard to say what party started what, but things got out of hand rather quickly, and that's when people started dispersing, and it got ugly. Things got ugly.
And very quickly, you live right here, very quickly, just tell me, how heartbreaking is this to see this happen right across the street from where you live?
Well, it's horrible, I mean, this is our community. I'm a local Miamian, born and raised, and it's devastating to see it. I was posting about it on social media earlier and having a conversation with some friends about how Miami's marches were rather peaceful compared to the other manifestations that are happening around the country. And maybe I jinxed it. It turned into a rather not peaceful event. So
thank you.
It's bad, yeah.
Thank you so much for talking with us, sir. Okay. Again, we are here outside of the police department. We're going to send it back to you guys.
All right. So much going on out there, Kim. Of course, thank you so much for your coverage in this past hour. And of course, we're going to continue to follow this story. There's so much to get to tonight. We want to make sure that you tune in to us. As Alina said, everything started off as very peaceful here tonight, but things then took a turn for the worse. So the news at 11 starts now.
Live, the news on NBC6 at 11 starts now.
Now at 11, we continue to follow breaking news in Miami where protests turned violent today. You are taking a live look right now. Police are making sure that the streets are cleared now that a county-wide curfew is in effect.
And this is video from just a few hours ago. It shows the situation on the streets there in downtown Miami where protesters faced off with police there.
Chopper 6 giving us a bird's eye view of some of the unrest on the ground, including protesters doing damage to property at Bayside. At this point, it is not yet clear how many people have been detained. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alina Machado.
And I'm Jawan Strader. Good evening. Thank you for staying with NBC6 as we continue to keep you informed tonight.
And if you are just tuning in, we have team coverage tonight with Kim Nguyen and Tony Pipitone. They were in the heart of the protest when things turned violent.
Tony, we'll get started with you in downtown Miami. What are you seeing there now?
We've moved about 2 blocks east from where we were previously. We're now at Biscayne and Northeast 5th Street. As we were leaving the area, which really was the center of the standoff between police and protesters tonight, we could hear and see more tear gas being sent into a smaller crowd. I don't know what happened back there, but we did hear and see evidence of that. Then a lot of the folks left, and many of them came over here to Biscayne Boulevard. They've really been peaceful. They've dispersed, and they came here with a message. And let me just ask you, sir, what was your message? You're a live television.
My message is I want to go home every day and see my family every day. That's my message.
Where are you from?
Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts.
Did you come down for this protest?
I come down for a lot of reasons.
All righty. So at least the first half of that is a message that we've heard a lot of today. I haven't met anyone yet from out of state before him. But this is why they're here, to get that message across. And they have done it without any serious injury to police or to protesters that I've been able to see. Some tear gas dispersed, a small fire set at a trash can. Of course, we'll be going to Kim, and she can show you what happened more seriously over at Miami Police Department. But right now here on Biscayne, which is shut down largely in southbound anyway, and they're sending cars north, it's pretty peaceful, as it has been for much of the night.
Tony, thank you so much for that. Our live team coverage continues right now in the city of Miami, where we find NBC6's Kim Nguyen.
Yeah, that's right. And Kim, at one point things got pretty heated there.
Yeah, they did. A few hours ago, we got caught up in all of that, and the tear gas containers were falling, and we had to run with the crowd. We really didn't have a choice. So right now this is kind of just the aftermath of some of that, of where things initially went bad. We are outside the back of the Miami Police Department. You can see several officers in their riot gear. They've been out here just in their line. They've kept that formation. There's some type of armored truck there. And so we're just seeing police basically just keep this perimeter here. What you notice that's gone, most of the protesters have cleared this area. Again, that was because several canisters were thrown down and that gas hit folks and they scattered. As far as the aftermath of what we saw, several police cars were set on fire. This is one of them. This is what it looks like now. Basically just charred with graffiti all over it, and folks have been coming by, some people just taking pictures of it, and this is what we are looking at right now. That is the aftermath. I believe that might be the first vehicle that we did see on fire. Several others over here have been vandalized. We're a little bit away. That one vehicle with the door open, it was vandalized as far as spray paint. And John, I don't know if how well you can zoom in. Okay, you said you got it. There's one car that is still on fire. You can see it smoldering. You can see smoke coming from that fire. So right now there is one car that is presently on fire. I'd say in total, I told this to you guys earlier, we've probably seen about 4 set on fire throughout the evening in different locations. That is the only one that is still burning. So as far as the crowds have dispersed from here, but we are looking at the aftermath, the damage that was caused. And just looking at police ready in their riot gear in case anything comes this way again.
All right, Kim, thank you again for your live reporting, not just right now, but throughout the last few hours. And again, there are curfews in effect in parts of South Florida right now. Both the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County have implemented A curfew, which started at 10 tonight and will stay in place until 6 a.m. A curfew will also be in place tomorrow from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice. And in the city of Hollandale Beach, it's also implementing a curfew right now. That started just a few minutes ago at 11 p.m. and it will stay in place until 6 a.m. Authorities have said they will arrest anyone who refuses to follow the curfew. And before the protests took a violent turn, Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez sent out a series of tweets where he expressed his thoughts on the death of George Floyd, writing, "The death of George Floyd in Minneapolis was clearly an assault on the dignity of human life. We must all stand up against this sort of injustice, but we must do it peacefully."
Well, protests in Tallahassee took a violent turn when someone drove their truck into a crowd of people there. Take a look. The crowd of demonstrators were on their way back from the state capitol today when you see the driver of a red truck there accelerate into the people. The truck stopped and the driver was escorted out of the vehicle and placed inside of a police cruiser. We still do not know yet about any injuries from that incident.
And clashes between police and protesters continued to erupt across the country Saturday as thousands descended on the streets pleading for justice in the wake of George Floyd's death in Minneapolis. Today in Philadelphia, police cars and a Starbucks were set on fire as protesters tried to topple a statue of former Mayor Frank Rizzo. The governors of Texas, Washington, and Utah have all deployed their National Guard units to help deal with the protests.
And earlier today, we spoke with Congresswoman Frederica Wilson about the national protest. Here's what she had to say.
Do not start to riot. Do not break the law. You will wind up with a criminal record that will be with you for the rest of your life.
The Congresswoman went on to say that this is a time to express grief peacefully.
And we will continue to keep a very close watch on the unrest in Minneapolis and across the country and right here in South Florida. Remember, you can stay connected on the go with the NBC6 app and also by visiting NBC6.com. We're going to take a quick break, but first we want to go back to those live images from our crew on the ground in downtown Miami where protests took a violent turn tonight. We'll have the very latest when we come back. And also by visiting NBC6.com.
Hey, Anna. Hello, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You gonna put up some pictures over this? Community leaders are asking people to do right now. That
Welcome back. We've been following what's been a very disturbing night here in South Florida as these protests have taken a violent turn tonight.
We're going to check in with NBC6 investigative reporter Willard Shepard. He is joining us now. You spoke with Reverend Dunn a little bit earlier. He is a community leader, Willard, and he has a message as well as others about what they want the community to do now.
Yeah, that's right, Jawan. Not just Reverend Dunn, but other leaders throughout the course of this entire time, this entire week really, have been, pleading, telling people to remain calm, be patient with this situation. And even after we saw the arrest of the officer up in Minnesota that people had been calling for, they really did not see this coming in a sense of, I think that people were going to do this. Obviously, police were ready for this. Throughout the course of the night, the Miami-Dade County Police Department tactics team, they have come to assist the city of Miami. So has Miami Beach. Those officers will be deployed throughout the course of the night. I first heard word about concerns about looting over at Bayside several hours ago, and Tony Pipitone and his great job out there in that area near the Wolfson campus, just on the east side of the campus near Biscayne. Police made that stand there, deciding that they are not going to let our tourist areas, some of which our hotels will be opening back up on Monday, they're not going to let that type of infrastructure be destroyed or looted in any way, and made a strong presence out there throughout the course of the night. And we've seen people head back to their residences or wherever they were going. Throughout the course of the night, the police departments will be on full alert during the course of the night. Obviously, the curfew is in effect, and Reverend Dunn and other community leaders are saying, if you're still out on the street, go home. This is not the way to handle this situation, and do it and execute your rights, but do it peacefully.
Amen to that, Willard. Very well said by our community leaders out there. Thank you for your live reports, Willard.
And we want to head on over now to NBC6 investigator Tony Pipitone. We've been following him all night as he moves around in different parts of the city where we've been seeing certain protests. And Tony, we want to check in with you right now. Let us know where you are and what you're seeing.
We're right here at Bayside, right here at the entrance on Northeast 4th Street, and you can see Miami police is all over this place. We were previously about a block up on a corner with maybe a group of 30 people, protesters. They started walking. Please, sir.
Tear gas and a pellet for no reason. We know our rights down here. Why we got lead the streets? We'll lead the streets. We all lead the streets.
So we were over about a block north of here, and the group came south. And as soon as they did, there must have been 25 police cars, I would estimate, just came straight down Biscayne, which recently just reopened, and set into Bayside and set up shop. And if you look over there now, you can see the lights over there. There's officers with shields that are lined up. They are obviously protecting that real estate. And farther north at the arena as well, we can see that they're also doing it there. And there at the south end of this parking lot is a group of the protesters. Many of them, I think, were over a few blocks north with us earlier. They've congregated again down there, but again, very peaceful. They did pick up some tear gas canisters that were discarded and other materials, souvenirs, but luckily, again, no one seriously injured on either side as far as we could see, and we've been at the heart of it for hours now.
All right, Tony, thank you.
NBC6 First Alert Weather, certified most accurate 7 years in a row.
Okay, friends, just a quick break here for my colleagues and their coverage on all of tonight's events. Weather-wise here, finally, a dry weekend across South Florida, and that's going to be the case through the overnight. There's no rain out there right now on First Alert Doppler 6000. In fact, all the showers tonight staying either on the west coast of Florida or up north, but everything winding down at this point. And as we go through the overnight hours, maybe we may see a stray shower, a stray storm popping up after midnight, but for the time being, all is quiet. Temperatures right around 80. Quick tour on the tropics. We were watching one area out across the open tropical Atlantic. All day long, there's been a downgrading in the likelihood of development. We are down to a 20% chance for development. So we're less concerned there. And one area that we're more interested in will be developing potentially as the week goes on in the Bay of Campeche. Now, this is only at about a 20% development over the next 5 days, but this has been an area that computer model forecasts have been really keyed in on as our next potential development zone. Let's talk about your Sunday forecast here. Sunshine abundant, shower chances remaining very low. We're not going to see a good chance for rain tomorrow, so that will bring us our first dry weekend in several weeks, as a matter of fact. I think for the next few days, maybe a few isolated storms around, and that's about it. Tonight, as I'd mentioned, maybe after midnight, we run the risk of an isolated shower or a thunderstorm. Otherwise, our lows down to 78. A warm and muggy evening if you've been out, and we're not going to see much change in the temperatures through the overnight hours. Tomorrow, warmer yet than what we saw today. We're feeling the heat, we're feeling the humidity, plenty of sunshine. If there is an afternoon thunderstorm, likely in the western metro areas, not necessarily in the metro area. I think on the beach all is quiet, but we're going to hit 90 tomorrow with mainly dry conditions, but clouds building. But do what you can to beat the heat tomorrow. Feels like readings will be closer to about 100 degrees in the afternoon hours. On to the boating forecast. All is quiet here. East winds at 5 to 10 knots, and our seas may be pushing 2 feet. One of the better days we've had on the waters here in South Florida. So we've got the sunshine going for us. We've got light winds going for us, but eventually more moisture and better triggers come into play. So you'll see that the storm chances, at least the coverage, will be on the increase as we go through the next several days. So enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the dry conditions, because we need the opportunity to dry out after the abundant rainfall we've seen for the last few weeks, as a matter of fact. We'll take tomorrow, keeping it dry. Isolated storm chances then roll back in by the time we get into Monday. And at that point, with highs at 89, we'll be looking for the temperatures to level out for the next few days, because we're going to see more cloud cover. We're going to see these muggy mornings, and we're going to see more storms developing. And on the bottom of your screen, you can see the coverage of the storms will be increasing, likely peaking in the Wednesday and Thursday. Afternoon highs Friday and Saturday up to about 87, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms across the South Florida area. And of course, June 1st, it's just around the corner, friends. The NBC6 First Alert Weather Team putting together a special that you'll want to check out, so you'll know everything you need going into the upcoming hurricane season. So be sure you tune in. Join us Monday, 7 p.m. for this season's hurricane special. That's right here on NBC6.
All right, Ryan, thank you for that. And a curfew is in effect in parts of South Florida. In Miami-Dade County, there's a county-wide curfew that started at 10 p.m. And Hollandale Beach also has a curfew that just started at 11.
And we're going to leave you here with some live pictures here before we go to break. Now, this is the Wynwood area, as you can see, but you can see some damage done to that storefront there. It looks like the glass is shattered. And again, this has been going on throughout South Florida. An ugly night in our history here tonight, as we saw a lot of violence erupt. No word of any injuries as of right now, according to the City of Miami Chief of Police, George Kalina. But again, you're taking a live look at just some of the images that are popping up across South Florida. We'll be right back.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, welcome back. We continue to follow our breaking news coverage here tonight of the protests that have been going on throughout South Florida. Many of them started off very peaceful, but it again took a very ugly turn.
Yeah, we want to check in right now with Miami-Dade County Mayor Carlos Jimenez. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. We just wanted to check in with you and see, first of all, how things stand in the county.
Things for the most part are peaceful. We still have some activity happening in downtown Miami, but outside of that, the reports I'm getting from the Director Ramirez for Miami-Dade County is that it's peaceful. And so again, we're involved helping the City of Miami Police in downtown Miami, and hopefully that will be rectified and that will calm down pretty soon.
And Mayor Jimenez, can you tell us why is it that you decided to go ahead and order a curfew tonight?
Well, because I saw the images of what was happening in downtown Miami along outside of the Miami Police Department headquarters, and I wanted to make sure that that didn't happen anywhere else. So we didn't want gatherings at night when things can become a little more dicey, and so I decided to issue the curfew order for the protection of the 2.8 million residents of Miami-Dade County.
Mayor, do you have any numbers for us in terms of how many people have been detained? And also, have you had any reports, any confirmed reports of looting or anything like that, any damage to businesses in the area?
Well, it appears that there was looting. That in Bayside, I saw those images on TV overhead, and Miami-Dade Police went in and stopped it. But before they got there, I think there was some looting and some, and so there was. I'm sure there's damage at Bayside. There may be damage in some other stores in the area, but it's nothing compared to what we've seen in other cities around the country.
Mayor Jimenez, you knew the protests were coming, but are you surprised by the turn that the protests took here tonight?
Surprised? No. We were the statement that I made this afternoon was that I expected it to be peaceful, but that we were ready for any eventuality. And so, our police department, the Miami-Dade Police Department, is one of the finest departments in the world, and we were ready for any eventuality. Unfortunately, it did turn a little violent, and there was lawlessness, and we told everybody we would have zero tolerance for that. We respect the right of all of our citizens to protest in a peaceful manner. We will protect your right to protest, but we will never protect your right to do lawless acts. And so once it got to that point, then we had to take some action, which we did, and I'm very proud of the work done by our great police department, the Miami-Dade Police Department, and the director, Freddie Ramirez, and all the command staff. They did a fantastic job tonight, and hopefully we'll stay quiet the rest of the night once we finish our operations in downtown, and then our residents can feel safe, in their homes.
Mayor Jimenez, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and hopefully we remain peaceful tonight. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
All right, well, be sure to wake up with NBC6 tomorrow morning with the very latest on this top story here tonight.
And stay connected with NBC6 on our app and also our website. That's it for us. SNL is next. Have a wonderful night.